Today you're going to get a little treat, ladies and gentlemen. I have to go to Calgary in order to see a dental specialist who is going to determine whether I need a or a couple of root canals and crowns, and whether a tooth can be saved or whether two need to be extracted. Is essentially a dental surgeon seeking a second opinion. And all of it had to do with two fillings that fell out a year ago, and I've been dealing with this ever since. But apparently I have a huge cyst that developed in my jaw, and so I was there a month ago with the dental surgeon who did a biopsy, and so this is just another step. But a bit of an infection, I think, has developed in here. You probably can tell that my jaw is a bit swollen in here. But don't worry, I think we'll be on top of this. And so I will take the camera along and endeavor to place it on the dash, and hopefully it will remain there for a portion of the trip. And you'll get a chance to see what Alberta Highway 2 is like from Red Deer to Calgary. And yeah, I have a number of things that I wrote down that I wanted to discuss, and I will take this along. And so, you know, in the event that I run out of things to say whilst we are driving, I'll have this along, and then I can refer to it if necessary. I also take a pen, and yeah, I'm all set to go. So the next segment will be the camera on the dash of my car. So I just finished gassing up at the Shell on Gasoline Alley. It's at the south part of Red Deer. This is where everybody gasses up, in Gasoline Alley. There's a whole bunch of different service stations, gasoline pumps along the way here. I'm just putting some batteries ready at hand. Might have to charge one up, we'll see. But at any rate, I've got batteries, I've got everything necessary to keep this camera running for a while. So I'm going to have to hang on to it here. I'll run the car in sports mode, so I don't have to keep changing gears, and that way I can keep an eye on the camera. And yeah, hopefully you'll find this interesting enough. You can look at some scenery, and I will talk a little bit about this and that. Some of the things are kind of bugging me, and one that seems to pop to mind right away, as I was thinking about it the other day, is how is it possible that young Jared Kushner and his little wife Ivanka, how is it possible that these two unelected people do so much work for the American government? How is it even possible that such youngsters have the level of credibility that they do? I find that rather astounding. Well, of course, we know that Jared Kushner is connected with the Lubavitchers, which is a particularly psychotic branch of the international parasite. And Ivanka converted to Judaism as well. And so we have those two being what they are. One became Judaic by persuasion and conversion, which indicates that it's not entirely a race, is it? You know, if you can convert to being a member of the entity, then it's also just really just a belief system, isn't it? But there seems to be a very large amount of a particular genetic makeup, that being the Ashkenazis, that used to be the former Khazarians. They also profess this belief system, Judaism, which is just the same as communism, Satanism, Luciferianism, psychopathicism. Yeah, they are a pretty amazing group, and as I've said so many times, they're very well organized. But I don't believe that on an individual basis that they are any smarter than, say, a normal white man. And again, it's important that people realize that there's a big difference between the Khazarians, who are also by and large white-skinned, and we who are the descendants of Atlantis, or also known as, some of us are Aryans or Caucasians, but we're a different group, and actually many contend we're a completely different species indeed compared to the Jewish entity. So that's something that is really important for people to teach the Negroes, because the Negroes, they're all thinking that our ancestors, we white people, that we are the descendants of slave traders. But it's more and more, of course, apparent, more and more people are waking up to this, that indeed the slave trade was largely carried on by Muslims, Negroes, indeed the king of, I think it was Niger or somewhere. And there were a large number, actually, of Negroes involved in the slave trade of Negroes. And slavery is indeed a part of the overall Negro culture, if you will. It's openly practiced there still in Sudan, for example, all throughout Africa, truth be told. Negro land has not changed all that much in the 100 years or so that Hinton Rowan Helper wrote his marvelous book, The Negroes in Negro Land, is a long title. Negroes in Negro Land, the Negroes in America, and Negroes in general, something like that. In the 19th century, earlier centuries, books had much longer titles that kind of divulged a bit more about what was inside the covers. Speaking of books and writing books, I was listening to Jim Rizzoli in a talk this morning on BitChute, where he mentioned that he's done a lot of video productions, and his primary topic is, of course, the Hollow hoax, and that's a good topic. And more people are realizing that the whole thing was a fraud, is a fraud, and a great shekel generator for the international parasite. Another reason why we call them such, international parasite. But Jim Rizzoli was